Hi everyone, this is Tina from Tina's Workshop. This is Mary and she's trying to run away from me. And my husband, Billy Bob. Say hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
And we came up to Ukiah today to the Mendocino fiber mill, which is what is right back there behind those wood piles. And we came up here and they were having an open house today and fiber mill tours. So today's video is going to be of their fiber mill, and it was a really fun day. So I hope you enjoy.
All of our shelves here have a label on them that matches what's in the database. When an order comes in, it gets entered in the database and put on a shelf, and we know where that order is. And then when it comes time to wash that order, Sarah will pull it off there and get it ready for the scourer to scour. For the scouring, when that place comes in, it should be already skirted. On shearing day, when you shear the sheep, you spread the wool out and you pull off all the really nasty bits, anywhere that has a bunch of poop stuck to it, any bits that have a lot of accumulation of grass seeds and stickers. If it hasn't been skirted properly and we get fiber in that's mixed in with a bunch of crap, we have to go through that and pull that out. We do bill for that skirting time. But you're never going to do as good a job as you can on shearing day. Once you shove it all together in a sack, it's really hard to separate it all out. So it's really important the skirting happen on shearing day when you're shearing. So we'll take that, we'll check it, make sure it's all good. We'll put about a pound. I think they put a pound per laundry bag, and they kind of make sure it's open enough that the water can get in there. And I think they'll put half a dozen laundry bags per sink. We have a rinse, a wash, a rinse, a wash, a rinse, rinse, and then there's a final rinse in the scouring sink or in the washing machine there.
So you do this all by hand?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the problem with most of the machines out there is they're really small, and we're big enough scale. Like we need production, and so the big commercial mills have really huge machines, and the little tiny mills have really tiny machines, and we're like stuck in this awkward. There's no machine really the right size. You know, a really good machine is wants to help me build one. I have a design in mind. So the wool will soak here for 15 minutes or so. You can't really agitate it because that'll felt it. You want to soak it. They'll squeeze it out in the mop squeezer and move it down to the sink. So every 15-20 minutes, everything moves down the sink. So rinse, wash, rinse, wash, rinse, rinse, and then we throw it in the washing machine. It doesn't agitate it. It fills it with fresh water and spins it out to get most of that water out. And that final rinse of really clean water hopefully gets the wool really clean. Cleanliness is really important. If there's any tackiness or lanolin or dirt left in there, it'll make it much harder to process. You get a much inferior product out of it. Questions about scouring?
What type of soap or what is your detergent or whatever you use?
EcoScour, which is a biodegradable citrus-based soap.
And do you use really hot water to do the washing?
I think they use 165.
165.
Yeah.
And that's below 166.
Can I give you an elbow?
Yes. I permit it.
So that's scouring.
We like your that's a good idea. I never thought of doing that press thing to get the stuff out. Yes,
I love that.
Really? And you can do that. Just put it on like one of those big tubs or anything, huh?
Yeah.
And do it. Wow.
Learn that.
Push out the
Did
laundry
you get that
bag
on your counter?
Very nice.
The drying room. Come on in and take a look at
Ooh, it's nice and
the
warm.
drying rack.
Oh wow.
Pretty, yeah, pretty rudimentary.
Oh, so you're drawing, you actually are running heat.
Yeah, it's nice in there. I think I'm gonna stay in there.
We don't have a heater in there. We just have the dehumidifier.
It's nice and warm
You
now.
don't have a heater?
We don't have a
It
heater.
sure is warm. Feel it. Warm.
It's just the dehumidifier that pulls that water out of the air. The air ends up getting warmer.
Wow.
And the fan blowing through the mesh racks.
Uh-huh.
Everything is usually dry overnight.
Oh, why is it so warm?
The dehumidifier.
Just the
It's like the east side of the Sierra is warm and dry.
Yeah.
So that rain falls out,
wow.
the air mass ends up warming up.
Oh. I used to do mine and
Spotlight. Spotlight on Mary.
No. You just edit that right out.
So when you scoured and dried the wool, if you look at this bag here, this has been scoured and dried, got a bunch of big dense clumps in it. It is, you could card from this, but the carder would have to work extra hard to deal with those clumps. So that's where the picker comes in. It's also where we add the conditioner to the wool. It's anti-static and a little bit of adhesive, which makes it process much more nicely. And so we'll put the fiber on here, spray with the conditioner, and then send it through the picker. And if you look inside the cabinet there, you can see the drum. It's got about 2-inch long metal spikes on it. They'll take that clump. They'll take that clump and turn it into tough. So pull it all apart and turn it into real tough.
And what kind of conditioner do you put back onto it? Like this?
Well, no, that's been carded. Yeah. So the conditioner we put on there, it's a mixture of Lenospin and Syntholube. It's a biodegradable oil, basically. The Lenospin's a little bit sticky, so fibers gives it a little bit of adhesion to the fibers. And the Lenospin is mostly, the Syntholube is mostly an oil that just dissipates the static electricity.
Mhm.
You think about all the fiber running through the machine, constantly getting rubbed on by the metal, like rubbing your hair with a balloon or something. So it builds up this static. And if you have the static electricity making the fibers stick together, they're not going to pull apart. They're not going to process properly. It's all biodegradable, washes out really easily. So it's not going to end up being the final product.
This is a Plying machine?
This is the carder. So go ahead and go on back there. You see it best from the other end of the machine.
Kind of small.
Just an itty bitty thing.
It's only about 10,000 pounds.
Oh.
So this is the carder.
Look at how many.
Open this up a little bit so I can talk about the different parts of it. Every machine has the lockout tagout thing. Powered lock off the machine, keys in my pocket. That means I can touch it. This here is the Swift. We have 2 Swift, 1 and 2. The fiber comes in, gets put on the belt, gets fed through the in-feed rollers, and the liquor in transfers that wool from the in-feed rollers to the Swift. This carder has 5 working groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Wow.
Each one of those working groups has a worker and a stripper. So that fiber is getting carried up by the carding cloth on the Swift. The worker is going to take most of that off of the cloth. And then the stripper is going to take it off, is going to strip it off the worker and put it back on the carding cloth.
Oh, it goes, wow.
So if you think about the tuft of fiber getting passed through, the liquor in is moving significantly faster than the roller, so that tuft of fiber is going to kind of get spread out, opened up a little bit, and it's going to get put on the carding cloth, and then most of that tuft is going to get, most but not all of that tuft is going to get taken off by the worker. So it's going to send a much smaller tuft on to get taken off here, and then as that tuft circles around a couple of times, it's going to keep getting broken down and broken down. So as the fiber moves from this end of the machine to the other end of the machine, those tufts turn into tuftlets, turn into individualized fibers. Fiber gets put on there, we can control the speed of the in-feed. So when we're standing and looking at outfeed, the quality of what's coming out depends on a lot of factors. The quality of the scouring, the quality of the fiber, and the feed rate. If we've got something that's not processing well, it's creating noils. First thing to do is slow down the in-feed. So carters being able to give more individual attention to everything, and see if that improves that. So we can control all that instantaneously from there. Got a motor right here that is dedicated to the in-feed, so we can control that speed.
So you process mostly for like knitting, spinning type of things, as opposed to big industrial like bats and that type of thing, or do you do both?
We do not make bats because I haven't built a batting drum.
Okay.
Our optimal bat size, I don't know, might be 50 pounds or so. So we will do, our minimum spinning size is 10 pounds. But we can do individual fleeces on this machine without too much trouble. I'm gonna turn it on for you. I think I have the key here so that you can see how all the different parts move.
Are you gonna feed into it?
No, I'm not gonna feed into it.
Got a handful of that out there and feed it.
So I've got it moving at the very slowest speed setting, which you'd never run at this slow, just so you can kind of see all the moving parts.
The organic matter that's on that switch there.
Yeah.
And then this is about as slow as it would normally be run.
I hope you're all enjoying this video. If you are, please click like, and if you'd like to see more, click subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified when I upload more videos, then hit that notification bell.
It all goes on the switch. The docker, your docker hat, you take your hat off, or it's called the docker because it takes the roll off of the switch. And so that last drum there is about 8 feet in diameter. That docks the wool off the switch, and you have a web coming out right here, which gets punched up into a slider and just pull it up from here. You end up with is a nice shape.
Oh, so it makes the sliver right off this.
Yeah, so in the sliver, the fibers are all individualized, but they're not, it's not a particularly refined product. They're very randomly oriented in there. You might have C-shaped fibers, J-shaped fibers, they might be crisscross. So coming off the carder, comes in these cakes. Then the pin drafter is what makes all those fibers parallel, which becomes really important on this spinner. So this is a faller, and there's a set of corkscrews in the head here that will carry this back and then throw that down into the fiber, like here. And there's another set that throws it up, another one up in the bottom. And then these are going to be carrying the fiber forward, and you have one about every inch or so. There's a roller right in the front that is currently set up to, the service speed of the roller is 5 times the speed of the fallers. So if you think about this carrying the fiber forward, and then a roller grabbing those fibers and pulling them significantly faster than the fallers are moving, that's what straightens it out. So if you have a C-shaped fiber like this, that's getting carried in with the rest of the roving. The faller gets thrown into it, and then the roller grabs this end and pulls it. It's going to straighten out that trailing edge, that trailing end. And so you're going to send at least twice, probably 3 or 4 times through this machine. One time you're going to take out this trailing edge, the other one you're going to straighten out the other trailing edge, and then again it's going to make it much more refined. And so by the time you're done with this, all the fibers should be pretty darn parallel. The other thing that this machine does is it evens out all the irregularities. So if you think about the carder, you might have one batch with half a dozen fleeces. One of them maybe is a little bit weak, doesn't process as well, a little bit different kind of fiber. And so you might be watching the outfeed and like, oh, it's starting to noil. So you're going to turn the speed down, which is going to make the weight per yard of the outfeed of the carder different. So if you think about here, you first do 6 ends up together. So those are going to average each other out. And then you're going to do it again 3 or 4 ends together, and then again 3 or 4 ends together. So you end up with, I think, over 100, up to like 200, essentially ends being turned into one and stretched out. So you're going to have a much more consistent roving here than you would there. We've also got a yardage counter on here so that we can run however many yards we want to, see how many yards, weigh it, and then we know the grams per yard of the roving that we're making. The weight of that is really important for the spinner. It's kind of a bit of an art knowing what the spinner needs this particular fiber type to be so that it'll spin properly. And so the spinner is telling the pin drafter, okay, process that to 4 grams per yard or whatever weight they need it to be. Next thing. So I'm going to turn this on. You guys can climb up on the blocks and take a look into it. It's really fascinating how it works. Ingenious piece of machinery. Take a look. How it can coil into that pan.
It's got like 14 to 17, but like it has to be really happy fiber.
Yeah.
And if it's not happy fiber, then it's not happy.
Yeah.
And I can't really do that, you know.
Like there's some these won't do that you don't order for any reason.
Does anybody?
Oh my god, no, but people have a
Right.
I mean, like, you know, it's tough.
It's really fun to do.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Of the whole mill working, how many people does it take to be doing this?
More than we have.
There's what, 6 months?
There's 6 months.
Yeah.
So ideally you have about 8 people, different shifts, longer days. The setup and breakdown at each step takes a really long time. So we encourage people to work longer days if possible. Which is great. So then
Oh, I did it! So the spinning is occurring at this point on. The spindles are spinning. There's travelers that go around the ring. So yeah, this is where the spinning happens. But this is still the sliver coming in and then it starts to spinning. Not yet. Very dangerous. So if I hit the brake and it stops spinning, the sliver is going to go into there. And then when I let that go, it starts putting the twist back in.
oh my gosh, yeah.
And then it's,
Wow.
yeah. So, like, it works so easy. So this is the extreme size of our catalyst. This is too heavy, it would not work on this side yard. But it clips on the inside ring, and then as the spindle goes around, the thread drags that wiggle. So that kind of is where when you're spinning on a spinning wheel, they kind of mimic that look.
Now, you set this with so many twists per inch?
Yeah, so because this is a toxic Italian boyfriend, they want twists per meter. But we're Americans and we don't think in meters. So we have to convert our twists per inch that we usually operate in to twists per meter for the computer on this machine. So this is 6.4 twists per inch, which is about 252 twists per meter.
And then these are all single.
Yeah.
So then you have to somewhere, does this same machine,
Same machine.
do the ply?
Yeah. Are you really passionate about it? Okay, I'm gonna push the button.
And I can see it slows at a slow rate so it doesn't just snap in.
Exactly. So that was an excellent question. This is what we call singles. It's just one singular strand of yarn. When we want to ply it back together to make actual finished yarn, we take our tubes. We have to let everything rest for at least 24 hours, sometimes longer, depending on scheduling and process times. But it has to rest. Once it's done with its little nap time, we put it on this handy dandy rack back here. And if you we take, it comes up here and it comes through these like sewing machine style tension discs. And we clip that in. So we're gonna imagine that there's two, because there's not, but good with our plans. So I take two of them, like so. Please be long enough. And then I take it all the way over here and clip it up into there and take it back down here and under the same roller, at which point I spin it. Oh, thank you. I love you so much. And then we spin it in the opposite direction. The door is in the way, but on the wall we have written that we spin Z direction and we ply S direction, because we forget all the time, despite the fact that we've been doing this for freaking years. It's true. So she's been here for all of it. So that's how plying works, essentially.
So if you wanted to do a 3-ply, then you would just run 3 of the
Yep.
threads.
So the whole setup, as you can see, there's 3 discs, there's 3 clips, there's 3 holes, right? It's all set up for anywhere from 1 to 3
So 3
plies.
is as high as you go.
We can do
plies.
4. What we end up doing is combining the clips. The more plies per yarn, the more attention has to be paid. I don't like paying attention. So we do 4-ply rub yarn for certain people that really, really, really want it. We do try to maybe discourage that a little bit, but also like if the yarn went through the carder fine and the pin draft fine, then we can handle doing the 4-ply. It won't kill us.
I feel it. I don't want it.
Yeah, we like to whine, but it actually is fine.
Which one's worse, single or 4?
I would rather do 4,
Yeah.
100%, hands down. Yeah. We have pulled off an almost traditional Lopi style yarn using Iceland. It could only be more Icelandic Lopi if it was actually made in Iceland. It's like champagne, right? So one of the processes, because it's all math, we take 10-yard samples on the skein winder. Once I figure out how much the yarn weighs, if people want blankets woven, this is my flock. I really want flock specific blankets. I will take their yarn. I have my handy dandy comb winder over here, not Felicity, though she could if she wanted to, but the machine behind her. We make big old combs. I set up my warp system that takes up this whole walkway. The coworkers love it. It's great.
How long do you put on?
This one's 55. My longest so far has been 76, though I do have an 86-yard warp coming up. Oh, I know. When I learned to weave, the math went, what are you making? How much yarn does that require? Now that I'm weaving here, it's how much yarn do you have? How many blankets will that make? So I had to figure out how to go backwards, which really fun. I love doing that. It's glorious and great. So this particular client wanted 90-inch long blankets. I can make shorter and smaller blankets, but ultimately I cannot get any bigger than 60 inches wide because I don't know how to do that cool thing where you weave it with a fold in the middle. It's
The double weave.
yeah, magical. I don't
It
understand.
is, yeah.
Like my brain understands how to make it into a tube, but not how to have one side open and one side fold. I don't get it. Whatever. So 60 inches is my maximum width at this point. My standard blanket size is 60 inches by 70 inches plus about a 3-inch fringe on each side. I hand stitch all of the hems.
Oh, my
Give
God.
them. I know it's my least favorite part. It's honestly the hem stitching isn't that bad.
So how many ends?
480.
And how many do you do at a time in your hem stitching?
6. And so it's, but we spin all of our blanket yarn to be about 1,500 yards per pound, which gives me a really, really nice 8 ends per inch. So that's really doable. It's not actually that difficult. And then with
You have a
the,
sample?
I do, I actually have lots of samples. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm rewinding because I'm all over
Sorry,
the place.
and I'm all.
No, that's okay. The 10-yard samples that we take for our math, we get to hang up on the wall because they are so beautiful. And when we are stressed out and sad, we like to walk over and pet them.
Oh.
It's lovely. And I just, it's my favorite thing. I love having people look at it. Feel free to touch it. It's glorious and it makes me happy. So that's that. We can come around up to the front if you want to check this out. All of these bins here are filled with yarn for future blanket orders. I have about 9 people waiting for blankets at this point. Some of them will be ready for next Christmas. I don't turn the loom on when we have people visiting because the shuttles travel back and forth at about 45 miles an hour. I made that number up, do not quote me on it. But they are very fast. There's holes in the wall over there from where the shuttle misfired and crashed into the wall. So I don't want to accidentally shoot somebody in the leg that's standing over here because I feel really bad.
So this is all automated.
There's not even a fly shuttle.
The AVL,
set it
I was
up,
looking
yep.
at that with the dome, yeah.
This is the AVL's first ever model of loom.
Really?
This is older than I am.
Wow.
They do not support this machine anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So pretty much everything that's on here is stuff that Matt and I had to like, what if we do it this way? Is that gonna work? So this is a blanket that I have made. I've been weaving blankets for these guys for about 5 years. This is for Foggy Bottom Boys up in Humboldt. They're opening an ice cream shop in Lolita because they also have a
I've been
dairy.
there.
Oh, jealous! Rude.
It's good.
Bring me some next time. So every year they send us wool to make into yarn, and every year the blankets that they get back are better and better and better and better. So this is my most, nope, I lied. This is the big diamond pattern. It's pretty simple. I try to encourage everyone to choose from patterns that run without rethreading anything. I have a couple of patterns that work on the same threading and just different lift plan, easy peasy. And then I have a couple patterns that run essentially on the same threading, but I have to change the selvages. So that's also not that big of a deal.
So you just tie on then?
Yeah.
And then just
Yep.
without rethreading?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Makes it easy.
so glorious. We had a question earlier about do we charge less for smaller blankets, and we actually do not because it's more work. Because I have to rethread and reslay everything at the beginning of the project and the end of the project. Yeah. So, but equally, we don't charge more for longer blankets.
So you have to tie between every blanket.
Mm-hmm. Well, every batch of blankets, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. So this, like I said, 55-yard warp, 90-inch blankets. He's getting about 21 blankets, assuming nothing goes wrong and that I can count, which is not a safe assumption. So
And then you have to stop in between each blanket and do the hemming then.
Yeah.
And then start the next blanket.
yeah, and I put in I don't even know what to call that. I just put in a couple shots in between each blanket to keep the fringe. Because we love, like, it's the Industrial Revolution here. We love child labor. It's great.
And I got that on camera.
No, we have the kids sometimes will take
See the
it.
lights on it.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, they're really good at cutting between the blankets. So that's, their job. And I love it. It's so great. And then we finish the blankets, so we do wash them and steam them and get them all sorted by pattern and make sure that, all the fringe is trimmed appropriately, and then send them off. So that's pretty much it. So in the olden days, which was like 2 weeks ago,
It's moving that fast.
I could do about, like, on a good day with zero distractions, and nobody else in the mill, I could do 4.5 70-inch blankets in a day. Matt came around and touched my stuff, and now I think, because now I'm doing 90-inch blankets, I can do 3.5 90-inch blankets in a day. So that's more blankets per day. After he sped it up, we kind of kicked ourselves. Like, we should have timed how many shots per inch we were getting, or shots per minute we were getting before you started touching things. Because now he's like, when he sped it up and I turned it on, I thought it was broken. I was like, it shouldn't sound like that. It shouldn't sound like that. I'm very scared and I don't like this at all. And now it's been about a week and a half since he turned it up, and I've gotten into the groove. I figured it out. I actually kind of love it, and we're getting a lot more, which means I can be lazier during the day.
So this is the little gift shop that they have, or I don't know if I should say gift shop, yarn shop that they have there at the mill. All wool that they've processed themselves. They have some really nice stuff. Cormo, alpaca, targi, number of different things. The dyed yarns there were done by someone else, but it is with yarn that they have spun there at the mill. This one was really nice and soft. That one was an alpaca wool mix. So I came home with this. This was the only piece that I had actually brought home with me. And it is a breed that is being developed by a woman up in the area. It's called Tomke, and it's a merino cross. And she wanted the softness of the merino, but with more strength. And it is so soft and luscious. And I got the 2-ounce thing of it so that I can spin with it and see what I think of it. But I tell you, just from playing with it to begin with, it was amazing. Mary brought home some of the same. She brought home 3 of the 2 ounces. So she wants to try and do a hat with what she spins up. I do not know what I will do with what I spin up. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this tour. We really had a fun day. So I hope you liked it, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.